watercolor wizards, Hajra here. Last time I reviewed Viviva color sheets. I swatched the 16 colors and painted a fun scarecrow. This is a new compact painting product similar to Peerless color sheets, and the Viviva Indiegogo link is below if you want to check them out. Remember last time we talked about how there wasn't a formal mixing area included? Probably because they want to make this as light and affordable as possible. So to improvise a mixing area, I decided to stick down a clear plastic in the opening 2 pages of the booklet. It's a sticky back for skit film I'm using, but you can use clear or white shelf liner or clear packing tape or scraps of Yupo paper too. So for my recent live stream, I did a master study of an old watercolor illustration from the Arabian Nights by Golden Age illustrator Edmond Dulac, and I decided I'd use Viviva color sheets again. I took a lot of time and care with the pencil drawing, which I then inked with a chocolate, similar to sepia brown, Zig Rider, which is a light, fast, waterproof marker. Last time with the scarecrow, I utilized the bleeding, bloomy quality of the color sheets for some areas. These colors are staining, but they also relift a bit after applying. So they only work for casual, simple layering. Because this piece had so many small and delicate areas of color, I applied the Vivivas mostly wet on dry, and I used a thin liner brush to pick up small amounts of color instead of a brush with a bigger belly like a mop or a round. Again, Viviva is made from dyes, not pigments, and the colors are not archival or light fast. But the affordable $15 16 color sheet booklet is super fun to use as a travel painting option for loose journaling. Peerless sheets are also made from dyes and not archival and nearly identical in handling quality, but they do offer more colors at the moment than Viviva. But Peerless sheets cost a lot more and don't come in a bound booklet with labeled colors like Viviva. Edmond Dulac was born Edmond Dulac in Toulouse, France, but he loved London and all things British, and he moved to London to pursue an art career there. His first published illustrations were for Jane Eyre in 1905 when he was only 22 years old, and though those first illustrations were decent, they still seemed like the work of a novice. It was his more mature works in later years that really showcase his talent. Enchanting pieces for Grimm's and Andersen's fairy tales, the Arabian Nights, and the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, Greek myths, Shakespeare, and even Edgar Allan Poe's works, all like delicate decorations nestled between pages of text and deluxe storybooks, so emblematic of the miniature art style reserved for books made for Mughal and Persian kings. I first saw some of Dulac's work when I was in high school. Even though he started working more than a century ago, his pieces are still popular today. Since my parents are Pakistani, I was intrigued by the obvious Muslim, Mughal, Persian influence on his artwork, and later I found out that his father was a merchant and brought back Mughal and Persian miniatures for the young Dulac to see, and so that Eastern art very literally and directly shaped Dulac's illustrative style. So enamored was Dulac with that part of the world that he chose to illustrate even Andersen's Little Mermaid as if she came from a place like Pakistan, with her prince decked out in Eastern attire and jewels. He did the same for Grimm's fairy tale Beauty and the Beast, making all the characters Middle Eastern. As a Westerner with roots in the East myself, I found these illustrations simultaneously touching and amusing, and I've always felt a connection to this man who was a Westerner borrowing from the art of my ancestors. So it's only fitting that we came full circle and he is one of my inspirations. The Viviva dye colors are so vibrant and intense that they would be too strident for a more muted or quiet painting, but they work well with the Dulac study because he was famous for jewel-toned palette choices. Dulac was also the most prolific of his contemporaries. Many of his peers sharply decreased their output after prestigious and expensive storybook commissions receded after World War II, but Dulac eagerly applied his magic brush to any art assignment that was available. He illustrated war relief books, banknotes, postage stamps, theater backdrops, set designs, portraits, book plates, early graphics, medals, and even chocolate boxes. My live streams are now every Friday on Twitch. So I have videos that I post solely to YouTube, but I also edit and post my Twitch live streams to my YouTube channel as well. In the past, I've edited the real-time footage and kept the original audio. Starting with this video, I'm voiceovering the sped-up live stream footage with new audio. If you want to see the 2 to 3 hour live stream and the original audio, you can find them on my Twitch channel. So after all the color parts were done, wet on dry, and rather delicately with the Viviva colors, I used white gouache as a last layer in many areas to go back and reclaim highlights and to add white flourishes for jewelry or textile patterns. The white helps calm down the intense colors a bit as well, making them just a bit more pastel. The white highlights were a conscious choice because this was a Dulac study, and he loved using a lot of titanium white for highlights and for misty effects and textiles and backgrounds. I can see why. The white is really addictive and it's hard to stop adding white embellishments. It's great for the pearl jewelry and sparkly sequins on the women's clothes, other textile patterns, as well as highlights in the many folds of fabric. So here's where I stopped the live stream. And here's the finished piece with the moon and sky done in a darker blue. I also had to re-ink outlines with a chocolate Zig Rider marker because the ink colors really diminished the initial brown outlines. I really liked the pretty color and texture of the darker sky, but felt it competed with the foreground figure, so I went back and lightened it up and flattened it out with white. Sometimes you have to let something prettier go because it doesn't work with the overall piece. Well, thanks for parking your brushes here. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and check out my website links below. And until next time, fantastical painting adventures.